AirPods Pro with adaptive audio automatically keeps out the sounds you don't want to hear so you can listen to your music, and lowers your music to let in the sounds you do need to hear.
Hi there.
Hi, what can I get you?
I'll have a strawberry mango coconut probiotic smoothie with wheatgrass.
Anything else?
Extra wheatgrass.
Here you go.
AirPods Pro with adaptive audio. Available on AirPods Pro 2nd generation when enabled.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
The Dental Download podcast is your source for insight into dental school, conversations with dentists, specialists, and leaders in the industry. With new episodes every Monday morning, I'm your host, Haley Schultz. Let's get into this week's episode. Fellow D4s, you do not want to miss out on this opportunity. Be sure to go to Dentist Job Connect using the form specifically in my description to let them know that I sent you. There are so many listings for associate jobs for general dentists. If you're anything like me, you're taking the boards and you're hoping you can graduate and find an amazing associate job. There are tons of options. You can sort by location, you can sort by pay range. Anything you need is right at your fingertips. And again, be sure to go to the link in the description to find out more and sign up. Huge thank you to Dental Nachos and Dentist Job Connect for working with me across my platforms. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Dental Download podcast. This week is a solo episode, and as you can tell by the title, we're going to talk about networking. But in my recent solo episodes, I haven't been able to do a big life catch-up of what's been going on in dental school and my life as I'm getting so close to graduation now. When I'm recording this, it's St. Patrick's Day, so the day before the episode goes up, and I have some fun updates. If you follow me on Instagram, you already got the early notice that I passed my last set of boards for CDCA ADEX, which is the restorative boards for us, is our last set that we had to take. So I took those and passed my first time around, which means that I'm done with the entire series, including the DSC OSCE. And then separately, I've been done with my INBDE for a while, over a year now at this point. But that means all of my boards are done, and I know that I'm squared away with all of my requirements at school to get my diploma. So with boards and the diploma and then a few other little things, as well as a nice check, all that will go together to get me my dental license. So basically everything's all together other than filling out all the information online for the dental license. And I do have a plan to do an episode all about the process of applying for your license and what different things you need. It's going to vary state by state, but I do have that episode coming because I know that would have been helpful to me to know about before I just was thrown into it and had to kind of figure things out. But that's really the biggest life update, is that I passed boards and we're ready to get that dental license. Over spring break, which for us was the end of February, early March, I went to ASDA annual session in Denver, Colorado, and then flew back to Michigan, and that very same day drove over to the west side of the state to job shadow another day at the office I'll be working at. So that was nice to get to see the team again, and there were a few people that were out on maternity leave or just weren't there when I visited over the summer. So it was nice to get to see everyone in action and get to just bond with the team again. And it was a very busy day. All the docs were in the office that day, which isn't always going to be the norm once I'm there, but it was cool to just see everyone full force, really just guns blazing, as they described it. Very, very go, go, go. And it was a good opportunity to see kind of the peak of, maybe stressfulness isn't the perfect word, but the peak energy that you might be getting at that office. And also, the final update I want to give before we get into the topic of this week's episode is going to be that I found a place to live for my job. So there were several different options. It wasn't stressful, like, would we find a place to live, even though I'm moving to a more rural area? It's not too far from a busy suburb. So we're kind of living in between the busy suburb and my office. That way I have a short drive to the suburb to do all the things that I'm used to having access to, and then a little bit longer drive down to the office, getting more and more rural as you keep driving. So I know that some people for rural communities struggle to find something to rent. Most of the time you do have to buy something, but thankfully I'm really in that sweet spot where I can rent and have access to things that I wanted, and also get to have the valuable experience of practicing dentistry in a rural community. So I feel like I just hit the jackpot in terms of this office and everything. But we did find a place to rent. And as I said, my partner is going to be moving with me, and we'll be both relocating, and we'll be renting a home there. And I'm so excited. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, pretty updated and new build. I think it was built about 2 years ago. I believe we're the second or third renters in there, and it's in really nice condition, and I'm looking forward to it. It's in a very cookie cutter kind of suburb build neighborhood, but I think that's a perfect fit for us as we're getting started. I'm sure there's a lot of young families I see whenever we visited the home kind of around the neighborhoods. I think we'll be able to meet some people, and overall it's definitely very safe. And like I said, we're excited. So that was another big update. And the reason it matters, even though I'm starting work in June, is that we get the keys and start the lease in April. So I have subleasers moving into my place in Ann Arbor here at the start of May, which is great because most Ann Arbor leases are going to go August to August. So I didn't want to be paying double rent May, June, July, August. So I'm so happy that I found subleasers for my room and then my other D4 roommate's room. So I had to be out of here by May anyways, which means I did need a lease to start in April. And rather than moving all my stuff and storing it somewhere, moving it to my parents' house and then moving it out to where I'm actually going to be living, that was excessive in terms of cost and time, because I do have a lot of furniture and belongings that I've accumulated now throughout my dental school adulthood. So I hired movers. I'm moving middle of April, but we are getting the keys early April. So just a couple weeks, and I'm very, very excited. Today, I'm leaving for a 2-week rotation to the same place that I spent earlier this semester. So I've explained it a few times, but if you don't know, at Michigan, we do 12 weeks of external rotation our 4th year, and you do 4 weeks in the summer, 4 weeks in the fall, and 4 weeks in the winter term that we're in now. And each time you go for 2 weeks at a time, generally speaking. So I already did my 2 weeks, and these will be my last 2 weeks for this term. And this has been my favorite site by far. I did a whole vlog about the kind of procedures we get to do and why it's my favorite site. So if you want to see that, you can go to my YouTube channel. And again, all of my socials that aren't related to the podcast are currently, if you just look up Haley Schultz, you will find them. I'm probably going to change my @ for my Instagram page eventually to something incorporating actually being a dentist, but I'm not 100% sure anyway. So as for now, it's going to be Haley Schultz Dental. And before I start with the networking topic, I do want to say, hopefully you all have been enjoying the little sponsorships in these episodes. It's a really cool opportunity for me and something that I really was wanting to bring into the podcast just to kind of level things up. And I'm very grateful for these companies for wanting to work with me. They're very big companies, and I would never work with anyone that I don't personally already use and love their products or have used, depending on what it is, like the test prep from other episodes. So just know that any sponsorships that I'm sending your way, I really find value in, and I am genuinely recommending them to you. So with all that said, let's get into networking. We're going to talk about my experience and my advice when it comes to networking, and really why you should bother building a network. Like, how is it going to actually help you? So I wanted to start with the quote that says, "Surround yourself with people who would mention your name in a room full of opportunities." I'll say it one more time. Surround yourself with people who would mention your name in a room full of opportunities. And I can think of really probably 5 or 6 people off the top of my head that I know have done this for me or that I know would. And that is so special. And those are the kind of people that you want in your network. And you also want to be that for other people as well. And I know I do that. If an opportunity comes up and I say, this would be perfect for so-and-so, I'm going to connect you guys. That is huge. So where have I done my networking? How did it start? some of the biggest places for me were starting with dental school specifically, not in the pre-dental stages, but in dental school specifically, it was definitely through student organizations, which is mostly going to be ASDA in my case, but that could be AAWD, AGD, ADEA, whatever your kind of niche is, or it could be through different specialties, those student organizations, or it could be through research. So it really just depends like what your niche is and what you're looking to get into, or your business club at your school, whatever it may be. For me, mostly it has been through ASDA. I've had a little bit of networking opportunities through Academy of General Dentistry as well. Their national group hosted a virtual kind of speed dating for practice owners and associates with dental students, not so much to find a job, but just to find a mentor and pick their brain. So that was a very cool networking experience. And that was one that was set up for us, you know? So it was so easy. And you are going to find that different organizations that I talk about today have things set up specifically for networking. And all you have to do is just show up, versus other things I'm going to talk about require more effort on your part. So ASDA is the American Student Dental Association. It's the student level of the ADA, and there is a tripartite system for ASDA as well. So you have your school's chapter, and then you also have your district, and then you have national ASDA. And that mirrors kind of similar to the ADA. And thankfully with ASDA at our school, we are very connected to our state dental association, which is the Michigan Dental Association, as well as the local components in the few counties that are drivable to here. So that would be like Oakland County, Macomb County, Detroit County, Washtenaw County, those different dental societies.
We've all got those parts of our house where the internet just won't go. Well, if you had wall-to-wall Wi-Fi from Xfinity, you could worry less about dead spots. Because with wall-to-wall Wi-Fi from Xfinity, you get fast speeds, reliable connection in every room, and power for all your devices even when everyone's online. That's wall-to-wall Wi-Fi, only on the Xfinity 10G network. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Actual speeds vary.
If you're an athlete, you know the greatest motivator of all is the fear of letting your teammates down. After all, a team is only as good as its weakest link. So you owe it to those wearing the same jersey as you to be your best every time you step on the field. That's why there's no vape in team. When you vape, you can expose your lungs to toxic chemicals that can damage your lungs. If you're a step behind, the team's a step behind. Brought to you by The Real Cost and the FDA.
And I would say if your school is not plugged in to the ADA, State Dental Association, local components element of organized dentistry, that you definitely should reach out and try to do that, because you're obviously looking ahead at building your network. And I don't want this to come across in a selfish way, but you're building your network to benefit yourself, generally speaking. How can these people come back around and get you more opportunities or answer questions if you're struggling? How could they maybe be a mentor? Something like that. So you would like most of your network to be people that are ahead of you and someone that you look up to. I don't remember the exact percentages, but I know someone told me the people you surround yourself with, your network, your community, should be, I think it was like 25% peers, 25% mentees, so people that follow behind you. So for me, that could be podcast listeners or something of that sort, or YouTube followers that are pre-dental, and 50% of people that you look up to. It might have been flipped that 50% is your peers and then 25% that you look up to. I don't exactly know, but why not shoot for the stars and shoot for 50% of your network to be people that you aspire to be like, you admire certain qualities that they have or certain successes that they've had in their life. So you want to be thinking about, how are you building your circle? How is your circle dispersed? Because maybe you realize everyone in your network is a peer, and there's nothing wrong with that, at least initially, because your fellow dental students are going to be dentists one day, and they're going to be the specialists, the colleagues down the street, the colleagues across the country that you connect with at conferences as well, that you can pick their brain if you have questions. You're all going to be learning slightly different things. Once you get out of dental school, the playing field is not level anymore. So there's still going to be people that you can look up to, even if initially they started off as a peer in dental school. So circling back, I would say make sure you get involved in student organizations and make sure that you get involved in ASDA, ADA, your local components, because you really want to find people that you can physically talk to. I think in-person connection is huge. It's okay if your mentor is not around or you don't see them in person as often as you'd like, but ideally your mentor is going to be someone that you've physically met and sometimes get to see in person. So these local components, what that means is just the cities in your area basically are grouped into different components of your state's dental association. So by attending those events, you can either attend where you plan to move. So if you plan to move out of state, you could try to go to an event at the city that you're trying to move to. Or if you just want to go to the ones around your dental school at first, maybe first and second year, those are really great opportunities. And I know when I was looking back in the Detroit area, I made it a point to go to as many of the local component events as I could for those different groups, to meet as many dentists as I could. Even if those people weren't specifically hiring, they would remember me and maybe mention me, or I did reach out back to them and say, hi, we met at this event. I'm now in the stage of interviewing at offices. Do you know anyone that might be hiring? And then I got to pick people's brains and did some job shadowing. I ended up, as you all know, deciding to go with the more rural dentistry and moving to a different part of my state. But that was a really good opportunity for meeting dentists and having people that I could reach out to, and people that have at least an introduction to me, know me a little bit, and would feel comfortable recommending me to a colleague because they got to know my work ethic, my goals, my values with my career, as well as maybe a little bit about my organization skills because I was in a leadership position in ASDA, or that I was more of a go-getter because I was at these events and there were only a couple dental students that would go to them. So that is going to have a bigger impact than you think just by showing up to these events. All right, now we're going to transition from that in-person network that you're building, and I want to talk about how you can utilize and leverage social media to build your network. So when you think of networking online, the first thing that probably comes to mind is LinkedIn, because that's literally what the website was designed for, is building your professional network. So I created my LinkedIn in undergrad, and I made sure to connect with as many of my peers as I could. So a lot of my network on there is going to be people in different healthcare fields or science in general, because that's what my undergrad major is. So maybe there's people that went into dietetics, or people that are biology, lab science, or pharmaceuticals, but then there's also PA and physician and PT and pharmacy and dental and nursing and all these different things. So I have a network of those people now, because now that we're all finishing our professional programs, we are obtaining those professional titles and expertise. In addition to that, I also think it's kind of smart to add anyone that you've met, even through like your parents. So if you've met anyone that is in a different industry that is a family friend or something like that, even if they might be 20, 30 years older than you, that's another way to grow your network on LinkedIn specifically. And then I also would add people that were faculty or professors that I connected with well. In addition to, once I started dental school, I would add any of the faculty that I felt a particular connection to, that we had good conversations outside of the patient care moments or in the patient care moments, that I wanted to stay connected with now that I'm approaching graduation. And in dental school, of course, I added any of my classmates that also had LinkedIn pages. It's definitely not as common for dentists to be on LinkedIn as other professions, say marketing or something, but I figure, why not? Especially because a lot of dentistry is marketing and entrepreneurship if you're going to go into a practice ownership element of dentistry. So why would you not want to have as large of a network as possible? Or if you plan to have aspirations for maybe presenting at conferences, being a speaker, being a leader in an organization, you really want to have that strong presence on LinkedIn just to show that you are committed, again, to building community, to building a strong network, to bringing like-minded, intelligent people from all different disciplines together and you have those resources that you can pull on, because it makes a bigger difference if you have some idea for a project, whether that's in an organized dentistry group or in your office, whatever it may be. If you know someone at a specific company or someone that does that specific job well, and you can reach directly out to a person and get it done, it's going to be so much quicker than having to go online, look at different companies that do this. You have to go through reviews. You're not really sure which one's the best one to go with. And then once you do decide, you're in a queue of other interested customers, and it's just going to take a long time to get things done. But if you know a specific person and you can send them a message, you're going to get things done so much quicker, and you're going to appear to be very impressive and very well connected. So that's LinkedIn. That's my spiel. And then LinkedIn also does have some job postings if you are also looking for jobs, as well as like Indeed and things. So that's another reason to be on LinkedIn, because you might end up applying to jobs on there as well. And the other couple places I want to mention is going to be Instagram and Facebook. So I definitely would not use your Facebook as a professional platform, and I would not be friending people on Facebook professionally. I don't think that's what I'm trying to say at all. I am talking more about Facebook groups. So there are a lot of dentist Facebook groups that I would recommend joining. I think I've mentioned them in other episodes, but Dental Nachos, sponsor of this episode, is a great one. Dentist Job Connect. They are all tied together. And then there are a few other ones that you could check out as well. And by engaging in those, leaving respectful, thought out comments and engaging in dialogue on there is a good way to network and meet people. There are different Facebook groups for each type of kind of interest that you have, whether it's real estate, whether you're female, mother, dentist, whatever it may be. There's groups for all of that and a way to build a community. And that is kind of similar to a network. I would say community has a little bit more of a wholesome vibe to it than a network. You think a lot more professional and what am I getting out of it, versus community has more of the thought of give and take, in my opinion. So when I'm talking about everything in this episode, it's building a network, but it is also building community, and community is really important for our well-being and not feeling alone and having people to reach out to if you have clinical questions, if you have professional questions, but also if you have just personal questions, time management questions, how do you make it all work type of questions. It's really great to have those Facebook groups. And then the last one is going to be Instagram. You all know that I have my dental Instagram page, and it has slowly been growing over the 5 or 6 years that I've had it now. And you don't need to become viral or have tens of thousands of followers, but I do think having a dental Instagram page is a good idea. And this can be whatever way you want the page to look. So it could be showing cases that you do. It could be patient education based. It could be conference presentation research based, different things that you attend. Or it could be kind of like I have, and it's more of a lifestyle of a dentist, soon to be dentist page, whatever you want it to be, but keeping it from being too personal, in the sense of maybe you're not sharing your kids on there, or you're not sharing like the town you live in, things like that. But having that and then being able to connect with fellow dentists or dental students, whatever stage you're at, pre-dentals, whatever stage it may be, being able to connect with people and build that 25, 50 makeup of your network and your community is a really easy way to do it. And if you feel like you can't find people in person to connect with that fit all those boxes, or you haven't found a dentist mentor that you actually look up to, maybe people around you are not doing it the way you want to do it, or you don't see yourself in them, go online. There's endless opportunities online of other people that are probably doing something the way that you would like to do it, and you can learn from them in that way. So really just reaching out and saying, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm from this program, I'm in this stage, I love your page because of this, I would love to stay connected. Send that message. They'll probably say, hi, so-and-so, so nice to meet you. And you're a lot more likely to get a follow back from someone if you do send an introduction message. And it doesn't particularly matter, I guess, if you get follows back from all these people that you are looking up to. But obviously they're not going to be directly mentoring you if they won't even respond to a message. So that's a good way to see who is actually going to be willing to answer your questions if the time comes. And also, they might remember your name if they see it later, and maybe they would recommend you in the future if something comes up for an opportunity, or if they find someone that's more similar to you or someone that is stages behind you. They might say, actually, I did that 20 years ago, but Haley is finishing dental school right now, so she might have a better idea about the process of getting into dental school. And although maybe to some people that sounds like, they're just putting more work on my plate, it's a give and take. You help someone that they asked you to help, and then in the future, they're willing to help you. And that is probably the overarching theme of everything in this episode is just, it's a give and take when it comes to networking. You don't want to just try to take, collect names, build a long list, because that's not going to pay off in the long run. You have to be willing to serve and mentor and help others. And eventually, I think all of that goodness will come back to you, and you have to be open to opportunities that come to you and willing to accept them and to say yes. And having a positive mindset is going to be huge as well for all of the opportunities that you hope to get or hope to be successful at. So with all that said, I think that's everything for this week's episode. I hope you all enjoyed. Next week, we'll be back with an awesome guest. She is a general dentist working in New York City. So we have a very fun topic there. And I will talk to you all next Monday.